順転と反転、それぞれの無限を衝突させることで生成される仮想の質量を押し出す。挙式紫。今だ。
Hey guys, it's Ed here, and today's video is about why I think Qiongjiu is arguably the strongest. And a quick guide as usual. Her first skill is a single target attack that deals burn damage and gives the user support boost. Her second skill is a one lane directional burn attack that inflicts the first target hit with overburn. Her ultimate is what you will be mostly using. It gives her a buff to her action support attacks and an additional action support if you use it at full gauge, which you should be doing. Her passive is basically just you can do 3 action supports attack per turn, 4 if you use the ultimate at max gauge, and each action support will recover a gauge for her. For her set, you will want to use Phase Strike for now until she gets her CM buffs, which then you swap over to burn damage to min-max. Her weapon optimally is her own 5-star weapon, Golden Melody, which is purchasable from the gacha shop. Attachments wise, you want the usual attack percent, flat attack, and crit rate. For Qiongjiu, you want key 1 and key 3 mainly, while the last key is situational and depends on what type of enemies you are facing. How to use Qiongjiu is very simple. When you have 6 gauges, use her ult. If you don't have 6 gauges on her turn, use other allies' attacks until she gets 6 gauges and then use her ult. Optimally, you want to use her ult every turn. Now with the quick guide done, let's talk about why she's considered the strongest. First of all, she basically has 100% uptime in her damage circles. Just take Wawa for example. Once you use all her gauges on her S2, she'll have a few turns of downtime before you can restart her combo again. Look at Qiongjiu's damage cycle. Her ult consumes 3 gauges to give her 3 support attack, right? And what did the devs think to do? They let her 3 support attacks each recover a gauge. Think about it, every time you start her damage circle, aka consume 3 gauges to use her ult, she'll immediately gain back 3 gauges by the next turn usually. There's literally 0 downtime, you ult basically every turn. And you know what? I would have given it a pass if it was just some gimmicky attack with low damage. But no, her support action attacks do not just hit like a truck, but cleanses the enemy buffs, provides a vulnerability debuff, applies overburn. All that, and you can do it 3 times per turn. 3 times! Like, let's put it into perspective. Ksenia applies overburn once per turn. On her second skill, there's a gauge cost. Vplay cleanses 2 debuff once per turn. With her third skill, there's a gauge cost. Qiongjiu just does it 3 times a turn. Every turn, on top of it hitting like a truck. Secondly, it's how versatile she is. Her action support procs literally on any single target ability. So if your Groza or Sabrina does a counter hit, that will trigger action support. If your Somi or Shaki do a follow-up attack, that will also trigger action support. And if your Wawa is doing preemptive strike, yeah, that will trigger the action support too. And all these are just extra hits by the way, this doesn't count like the actual single target ability of any doll. Trigger conditions are literally on the floor, you can like sneeze and she'll trigger action support. Therefore, this allows her to be slotted in literally any team, either as an enabler or a sub DPS. Use Qiongjiu Wawa teams? Sure, Wawa's alert state preemptive attacks will trigger Qiongjiu's attacks easily, and the whole kit is single target anyways. Qiongjiu with Sharky teams? Sure, Sharky is a single target and has follow-up attacks that also trigger on the action support. Use Qiongjiu with Underis? Sure, Underis have 2 turrets attack that each trigger Qiongjiu's action support. My last point is that she's literally self-sufficient. She enables herself without much issues. Her CM buffs, they're not in the game yet. Yes, she gets buffed. Her buff turns her action support attacks into full burn damage, and it deals 15% increased damage to targets afflicted with burn debuff. Jeez, I wonder which character can apply burn debuffs. It's her, she can apply her own burn debuffs to M herself. Let's not mention her V4, which applies vulnerable to enemies hit by her action support to make them take more damage. Yeah, she's a debuffer now, for any team. And her V-Fly applies damage up to her and her ally that triggers the action support before anyone attacks. She's also a buffer now, for any team. In conclusion, on top of being a standard unit with easier access to her dupes due to limited banner spooks, or upcoming targeted standard banner rate ups. She synergizes with literally any team comp while providing a debuff that increases enemy damage taken, a buff that increases damage dealt by allies, a cleanse on enemy debuffs, having literally 100% uptime of all the above mentioned utilities while hitting like a truck because she enables herself. Not to mention, you can literally buy her signature when you have enough tokens from the shop directly. She is providing multiple limited banner units worth of support and damage as a singular unit, while being easily accessible by everyone. Hence, in my eyes, she is the strongest. Well, those are just my opinions. What about yours? Who do you think should be considered the strongest and why? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you for watching and consider subscribing if you want to see more content from me. Bye bye.